First contact's price. Commander Alina Blackwood stood at the helm of the UES Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling violet anomaly that had appeared at the edge of the Kuiper belt. After 15 years of deep space exploration, she thought she'd seen everything the cosmos could throw at her. She was wrong. "Commander, the signal's getting stronger," Lieutenant Reza Nazari called from his station, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Whatever's generating it, it's unlike anything in our database." Alina straightened her midnight blue uniform, feeling the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. The Horizon was Earth's most advanced exploration vessel, carrying a crew of 300 of humanity's finest. They were supposed to be mapping the outer reaches of the solar system, not investigating mysterious signals that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Dr. Winters, what's your analysis?" Alina turned to the ship's chief scientist, a tall woman with silver-streaked hair pulled back in a tight bun. "The energy signature suggests technology far beyond our current understanding," Dr. Winters replied, her British accent clipped with concern. "The quantum fluctuations are off the charts. This isn't natural, Commander. Someone made this." Before Alina could respond, the ship's AI Aria spoke through the bridge speakers. "Warning. Massive gravitational disturbance detected. Unknown object emerging from anomaly." The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as a massive vessel emerged from the violet tier in space. It was organic in appearance, its hull resembling polished obsidian crossed with living tissue. Pulsing veins of purple energy coursed through its surface, and it dwarfed the horizon by at least 20 times. "All stations, battle readiness," Alina ordered, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her gut. "Lieutenant Nazari, open all frequencies. Let's try to—" The alien ship struck first. A beam of pure energy lanced out from its bow, slicing through the horizon's shields like they weren't there. The impact threw Alina against her command chair as alarms blared throughout the ship. "Hull breach on decks 4 through 7, Chief Engineer Victor Petrov's voice crackled through the comm. "Containment fields are holding, but barely. Whatever hit us, it's eating through our armor." Alina's mind raced through options as more beams struck the ship. The Horizon was a research vessel with minimal weapons, never meant for combat against an advanced alien force. "Evasive maneuvers. Lieutenant Chen, get us behind that debris field." As the ship lurched to avoid another attack, a new signal cut through their communications. The bridge screens flickered, and a face appeared that would haunt Alina's nightmares for years to come. The being was distinctly feminine, but utterly alien, multiple eyes arranged in a crown-like pattern around its elongated head, skin that seemed to shift between solid and liquid, and an expression of cold curiosity that made Alina's blood run cold. "Children of Earth," the being spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "I am Zenara, High Queen of the Nexari Dominion. Your species has been observed, studied, and found. Interesting. You will submit to testing. Resistance will only increase the pain of the process." Alina stood, her hands clenched into fists. "This is Commander Alina Blackwood of the United Earth ship Horizon. We are a peaceful exploration vessel, if you wish to establish diplomatic relations." "Diplomacy is for equals," Zenara interrupted, her mental voice laced with amusement. "You are not our equals, not yet, but some of you have potential." The alien queen's eyes focused on Alina with an intensity that made her gasp. "You, Commander Blackwood, you carry something within you, something old, something we have sought for millennia." Before Alina could respond, the alien ship released a swarm of smaller craft, their organic forms resembling predatory insects. They surrounded the Horizon, attaching themselves to its hull. "Aria, initiate self-destruct sequence," Alina commanded, knowing they couldn't let this technology fall into enemy hands. But the ship's AI remained silent. "Your artificial construct cannot help you," Zenara said. "It is, sleeping now, as you all will be. When you wake, the testing will begin." A sweet, cloying scent filled the bridge. Alina saw her crew slumping at their stations as a purple mist seeped through the ventilation system. Her last conscious thought was of Earth, of the billions of people who had no idea what was coming. As darkness claimed her, she heard Zenara's voice one final time. Sleep well, Commander. You're going to help us reshape humanity, whether you want to or not. The Hidden Legacy. 3 weeks after the Horizon's disappearance, Dr. Marcus Rivera stood in the depths of the Martian excavation site, his breath fogging the inside of his helmet as he studied the ancient markings on the tunnel wall. The red dust of Mars swirled around his boots, but his attention was fixed on the impossible discovery before him. "This can't be right," he muttered, running his scanner over the glyphs again. "These markings, they're at least 50,000 years old, but they show human figures and something else." His research partner, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, moved closer, her suit lights illuminating more of the wall. "Marcus, look at this section. The humans are fighting something. Those elongated figures with multiple eyes." Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. The images matched the last transmission from the Horizon perfectly, the same bioorganic ships, the same crown-like arrangement of eyes on the alien beings. "They've been here before," he whispered. "The Nexari, they've visited Earth before." A rumble shook the tunnel, sending cascades of dust from the ceiling. "Base camp to research team," a voice crackled through their comms. "We're picking up multiple objects entering Mars orbit. They match the description of Nexari vessels. You need to evacuate now." Marcus quickly attached a quantum recorder to the wall, downloading as much data as possible. "Yuki, we need this information. It might be our only chance to understand what we're up against." They rushed through the winding tunnels, their helmet lights bouncing off walls covered in ancient warnings. As they emerged onto the Martian surface, the sky had turned an even deeper red. Multiple dark shapes descended through the dust storms, their purple energy signatures pulsing ominously. "Everyone to the bunkers," Colonel Diana Foster's voice boomed across the base's speakers. The veteran soldier had been assigned to protect the research base, and now her worst fears were being realized. "This is not a drill. All civilian personnel proceed to emergency shelters immediately." Marcus and Yuki sprinted across the base's courtyard, watching as defense turrets emerged from hidden bunkers. The Martian colony had been prepared for an attack after the Horizon incident, but as the first Nexari beam struck the base's shields, Marcus knew their defenses wouldn't be enough. Inside the main bunker, chaos reigned as researchers and support staff crowded around video feeds. The Nexari ships had surrounded the base, but they weren't attacking at full force. They were testing the defenses, probing for weaknesses. "Dr. Rivera," Colonel Foster called him over to a secure terminal. "Please tell me you found something useful down there." Marcus connected his quantum recorder to the system, and the ancient images filled the screen. "The Nexari have been to Earth before, Colonel, long ago, and according to these glyphs, humanity fought them off." "How?" Foster demanded, her eyes fixed on the images. "We can barely scratch their ships with our most advanced weapons." Before Marcus could answer, a new voice filled the bunker, the same telepathic resonance that had haunted the Horizon's final transmission. "Your weapons are irrelevant. Your defenses are meaningless. We have come to continue what we began millennia ago." The bunker's screens showed a Nexari queen, different from Zenara but no less terrifying. "I am Lysara, seeker of the hidden path. You have discovered our markers, little ones. Tell me, did you understand their true meaning?" Marcus stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear. "The glyphs show a war, but they also show something else. A power that humanity possessed, something that drove you away." Lysara's multiple eyes narrowed. "Clever creature. Yes, your kind once wielded energies that rivaled our own, but you were not ready. You destroyed yourselves rather than accept our guidance. This time will be different." The bunker's lights flickered as something began to override their systems. Colonel Foster drew her pistol, knowing it would be useless against what was coming. "Rivera, if humanity had some kind of power that could stop them, now would be a really good time to figure it out." Marcus stared at the final set of glyphs he'd discovered, showing humans channeling some kind of energy through their bodies. "Colonel, I think the power wasn't a weapon. It was something inside us. Something genetic that the Nexari wanted to study, to replicate." The Queen's laughter echoed in their minds. "Very good, Dr. Rivera. The seeds we planted in your species' genetic code have laid dormant for 50,000 years. Now they are ready to bloom. Some of you will transcend your current limitations. Others will simply pave the way for those who can. Purple mist began seeping through the bunker's ventilation system. As people began to collapse around him, Marcus managed to send one final transmission to Earth. The message contained everything they'd discovered in the Martian ruins, along with a warning. The power to stop them is inside us. Find Commander Blackwood. She's the key to understanding what we once were, and what we might become again. His last conscious thought was of the Horizon's commander, wondering if she had already discovered what the Nexari had seen in her. As darkness claimed him, Marcus prayed that somewhere, somehow, humanity would unlock its hidden legacy before it was too late. Breaking the hive, Lieutenant Kai Patel pressed himself against the pulsing wall of the Nexari hive ship, his adaptive camouflage suit blending with the organic surface. 6 months had passed since the first attacks, and humanity had learned to survive in the shadows, studying their invaders, looking for weaknesses. Now, deep within the massive vessel hovering over the ruins of Singapore, Kai and his team were about to test a theory that could change everything. "Ghost lead to control," he whispered into his neural comm. "We're approaching the central neural chamber. No sign of drone activity in this sector." "Confirmed, Ghost lead," responded Captain Olivia Rhodes from their hidden base in the Malaysian jungle. "Remember, we need that neural sample. Dr. Rivera's research suggests it's the key to understanding how the Queens control their forces." Kai signaled to his team. Corporal Jin Wei and Specialist Zara Hassan moved forward silently, their own camo suits making them nearly invisible in the ship's dim purple light. The third member of their team, Dr. Thomas Reeves, carried the specialized collection equipment they'd need. "Movement ahead," Jin warned, her enhanced sensors detecting subtle vibrations through the floor. "Drone patrol at least 6 units." The team pressed into recesses in the organic walls as a group of Nexari drones marched past. The beings were horrifyingly beautiful, part organic, part crystalline, their bodies housing the same purple energy that powered their ships. What made them truly terrifying was their perfect synchronization, moving as if guided by a single mind. Once the patrol passed, Kai checked his neural map. "The chamber should be just ahead. Doc, you're up." Dr. Reeves approached the sealed membrane that served as a door, pulling out a device that looked like a silver pen. "The Queens use bioelectric signals to control these barriers. If I can just—" The membrane quivered and parted, revealing a vast spherical chamber beyond. The neural chamber was unlike anything they'd seen before. Countless tendrils of light pulsed from a central crystalline structure, connecting to organic pods that lined the walls. Within each pod floated a human body, their faces peaceful despite the neural interfaces attached to their skulls. "My God," Zara breathed, "these are the missing colonists from Mars. They're still alive." Kai forced down his horror and focused on the mission. "Doc, get your samples. Jin, Zara, watch our backs. We need to." "How fascinating," a voice echoed in their minds, freezing them in place. "You've evolved enough to bypass our outer defenses, yet you still think in such limited ways." A figure emerged from the shadows, a Nexari queen, smaller than Zenara but no less commanding. Her multiple eyes studied them with scientific detachment. "I am Nyxis, Keeper of Paths," she announced. "You are here to understand our control mechanisms, yes, to free your people from our influence," she gestured to the pods. "But look how peaceful they are, how, unified, we offer an end to conflict, to division. Why do you resist?" Kai fought against the telepathic pressure trying to invade his mind. Because peace without freedom isn't peace at all. Nyxis tilted her head. "Freedom? Such a primitive concept. Your species stands on the brink of transcendence, yet you cling to your limitations like children afraid of the dark." While the Queen spoke, Dr. Reeves had managed to extract a sample from the central crystal. The moment he did, something extraordinary happened. The purple energy flowing through the chamber flickered and the humans in the pods stirred. Nyxis hissed in surprise. "Impossible. Your technology cannot interact with our neural network, unless—" Her eyes fixed on Kai with sudden intensity. Oh, how remarkable. You carry it too. The same genetic marker we found in Commander Blackwood. Different expression, but unmistakable. Kai felt something stir within him, a power he'd never known he possessed. The purple energy in the chamber began responding to his presence, creating interference in the neural network. "Ghost, lead what's happening," Captain Rhodes demanded through the comm. "We're detecting massive energy fluctuations." "The Queens," Kai gasped, understanding flowing into his mind. "They don't just control the network, they're part of it, and somehow we can affect it too." Nyxis raised her hand, purple energy crackling around her. "A fascinating discovery, but I'm afraid we can't let you leave with this knowledge. The time for your species' awakening must be carefully managed." "Now," Kai shouted. His team activated their emergency teleport beacons, experimental technology reverse-engineered from Nexari artifacts. As their bodies began to dissolve into light, Kai locked eyes with Nyxis one final time. "Your awakening has already begun," she said, her voice following them through the teleport. "The question is, when you finally evolve beyond your current form, will you choose to join us or fight us?" They materialized in the jungle base's medical bay, alarms blaring around them. Dr. Reeves clutched the neural sample, his hands shaking. "We did it! We actually did it!" But Kai barely heard him. His mind was filled with new awareness, connections he'd never noticed before. He could feel the Nexari network humming at the edges of his consciousness, and somewhere out there, he sensed another human presence touching the same power, Commander Blackwood, changed but alive, fighting her own battle within the hive. "Captain," he called to Rhodes, "contact Dr. Rivera, tell him we found the connection he was looking for. The Nexari didn't just visit Earth 50,000 years ago, they changed us. And now those changes are waking up." The awakening. Commander Alina Blackwood floated in darkness, her mind drifting through the vast neural network of the Nexari hive. After months of experimentation, her consciousness had expanded far beyond human limits. But unlike the other test subjects, she hadn't surrendered to the Queen's control. Instead, she had learned to navigate the network while maintaining her identity, watching, waiting, gathering intelligence. Through the quantum threads connecting all Nexari vessels, she felt the ripples of Lieutenant Patel's infiltration mission. Another human who could touch the network. She wasn't alone anymore. "Remarkable resilience," Queen Zenara's voice echoed through her consciousness. "Most species we uplift lose themselves in the process, but you adapt, you grow stronger." Alina had learned to project her thoughts through the network, matching the Queen's telepathic communication. "Why us? Of all the species in the galaxy, why did you choose humanity?" Zenara's presence surrounded her, a storm of purple energy and ancient knowledge. "Because you were our greatest failure and potentially our greatest success. Come, let me show you." The darkness around Alina transformed into a vista of stars and worlds. She watched as Nexari ships traveled between galaxies, seeking species with the potential for transcendence. On world after world, they introduced their genetic markers, guiding evolution toward higher consciousness. 50,000 years ago," Zenara continued, "we found Earth. Your species showed unprecedented potential for genetic integration, but you were aggressive, independent, unpredictable. When we tried to force your evolution, you responded with violence. Rather than submit, your ancestors activated abilities they didn't fully understand." The vision shifted to ancient Earth. Alina watched as humans wielding purple energy fought against Nexari forces. The power was wild, uncontrolled, devastating both sides. "The resulting catastrophe drove your species back to the Stone Age," Zenara said. "We retreated, letting our genetic markers go dormant in your DNA. We waited, watching as you rebuilt, evolved naturally until now. Until we developed technology advanced enough to reactivate the markers," Alina finished, understanding dawning. "The signal that drew my ship. You sent it knowing it would trigger changes in those of us carrying the strongest genetic legacy." "Yes, but this time we plan to control the process, to awaken your potential gradually under our guidance." Zenara's mental tone carried a hint of frustration. "Yet again, you prove difficult to control. You, Lieutenant Patel, and others like you are awakening faster than anticipated, maintaining independence we thought impossible. Elena felt a surge of hope. If there were others out there with abilities like hers, humanity had a chance. She reached out through the network, searching for connections. She found Kai first, his consciousness burning bright with newly awakened power. Then others scattered minds across Earth and Mars, beginning to stir to understand their potential. They're all waking up, Elena realized. Every human with the markers. We're not just fighting your control, we're becoming something new, something even you don't fully understand. Dangerous, a new voice entered their mental space, Queen Lysara joining from Mars. They must be contained before. She was interrupted by another consciousness bursting into the network, Dr. Marcus Rivera, his thoughts chaotic but determined. Commander Blackwood, the neural sample. We've decoded it. The Queens aren't just controlling the network, they're trapped by it. The same system they use to maintain their unity is limiting their evolution. Elena processed this revelation, understanding its implications. The Nexari Queens had created the neural network to unify their species, but in doing so, they'd locked themselves into a rigid pattern of existence. Human independence, which they saw as a flaw, was actually an advantage. That's why you need us, Elena confronted Zenara. You're not trying to guide our evolution, you're trying to learn from it, to understand how we can access the network without losing ourselves to it. Clever child, Zenara's thoughts carried a mix of admiration and concern. But if we cannot control your awakening, we must end it. Better to start over than risk. Elena didn't let her finish. With her new understanding of the network, she reached out to every awakening human mind she could find. Not to control them like the Queens did, but to connect, to share knowledge and strength while maintaining their individuality. The effect was immediate and stunning. Across Earth and Mars, humans with active markers began to fully awaken. Unlike the Queen's forced unity, this was a voluntary connection, a network of independent minds working in harmony. "What are you doing?" Zenara demanded as the human consciousness expanded through her network, transforming it. "This is not possible." "You spent 50,000 years trying to perfect forced evolution," Elena responded, her consciousness expanding further with each mind that joined the connection. "But real transcendence can't be forced. It has to be chosen, embraced with all its uncertainty and risk." Through their shared connection, Elena felt the other awakened humans fighting back. On Mars, Dr. Rivera and the captured researchers were breaking free of their pods. In Singapore, Lieutenant Patel and his team were leading a revolt within the Hive ship. And in orbit around Earth, the crew of the Horizon was finally awakening, their minds joining the growing human network. As their combined consciousness reached critical mass, Elena made one final attempt to reach Zenara. "It's not too late. We can show you another way, a path to evolution that doesn't require sacrifice of self." The Queen's response would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of both species. And as Elena waited, suspended between human limitation and post-human potential, she realized that the real test wasn't about power or control, it was about choice. Queen's Gambit. The Nexari mothership hung above Earth like a dark star, its crystalline surface reflecting the purple glow of 1,000 neural connections. Within its vast central chamber, Commander Elena Blackwood stood face to face with Queen Zenara, two beings on the cusp of changing their species forever. "You're destroying everything we've built," Zenara's voice resonated through the neural network, her multiple eyes blazing with energy. 50,000 years of careful planning, undone by human chaos. Elena remained calm, feeling the strength of millions of awakened minds flowing through her consciousness. Across Earth and Mars, humans with active markers were breaking free of Nexari control, each awakening adding to their collective power while maintaining their individual identities. "We're not destroying it," Elena responded both verbally and mentally. "We're transforming it. Evolution isn't about control, it's about adaptation, growth, change." Through their shared connection, she sensed Lieutenant Patel leading the resistance in Singapore, his team using their newfound abilities to free captured humans from the Hive ships. On Mars, Dr. Rivera had transformed the research base into a sanctuary for awakened colonists, his scientific mind racing with the possibilities of their new potential. "The network is destabilizing," Queen Lysara's voice cut through their consciousness from Mars. "The human pattern is spreading, infecting our drones. We're losing control." Elena felt it too. The rigid structure of the Nexari neural network was shifting, becoming more fluid, more dynamic. The drones were beginning to show signs of individual thought, breaking free from their programmed responses. "This is what you feared," Elena realized, reading the truth in Zenara's chaotic thoughts. "Not that we would resist you, but that we would change you. That's why you retreated 50,000 years ago. Our ancestors didn't just fight back, they started transforming your network even then." Zenara's form rippled with conflicting energies. "We sought perfection through unity, complete control, no discord, no chaos, no doubt. And in doing so, you stopped growing," Elena pressed. "Your quest for perfect order became a prison, but look at what's happening now." Through the network, they both witnessed the transformation spreading through the Nexari fleet. As the human pattern of connected independence spread, drones began awakening to their own consciousness. The Queen's perfect control was dissolving, replaced by something new, a harmony of individual minds choosing to work together. "This is impossible," Lysara raged. "We must purge the system, start over." "No," Zenara interrupted, her mental voice carrying a new tone, wonder. "Elena, you were never the failure we thought you were. You're the key we've been seeking, not to perfect control, but to break free from it." The chamber filled with swirling purple energy as Zenara made her choice. The Queen opened herself fully to the transforming network, allowing the human pattern to merge with her own consciousness. The effect rippled through all Nexari, from queens to drones, breaking centuries of rigid control while maintaining their connection. "The pattern," Dr. Rivera's voice echoed through the network from Mars. "It's creating a new kind of neural architecture, not a hierarchy but a true network, every node independent but connected." Elena felt the change sweeping through both species. Humans with active markers were evolving, gaining abilities beyond their original potential, while the Nexari were awakening to individual consciousness while maintaining their unity. Two paths of evolution, merging to create something entirely new. "This was always the true path," Zenara said, her form shifting as she adapted to the new pattern. "Not conquest, not control, but cooperation, evolution through choice." The transformation reached a critical point. Above Earth, the Nexari ships began changing, their rigid crystalline structures becoming more organic, more alive. The purple energy that had once represented control now pulsed with the combined consciousness of two species choosing to grow together. Commander Elena Blackwood, the first to bridge both worlds, stood at the center of it all. Through the network, she addressed both humanity and the Nexari. "This is just the beginning. We have so much to learn from each other, so much room to grow, not as conquerors and conquered, but as partners in evolution." Zenara, forever changed by the merger, added her own thoughts. "The age of forced unity is over. The age of chosen harmony begins." As the sun rose over Earth, its light reflected off transformed Nexari ships now hovering peacefully in orbit. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transcendent. The awakening that had begun with a single signal had become a revolution of consciousness, proving that true evolution comes not from control, but from choice. In the heart of the mothership, Elena smiled, feeling the infinite possibilities stretching before both species. The war was over. The real journey, the exploration of their combined potential, was just beginning.